Yo, welcome to the channel. Season 5 brought a pretty major weapon balance update for Cold War multiplayer that changed several ARs, actually shook up the AR meta pretty significantly. There also was a couple changes to the SMGs and the pistols, and I wanted to run through these weapon changes in a private match with some bots so I can experience and show some of these changes in person and kind of get how these guns feel. First up on the change list is for the assault rifles across the board. They reduced the bullet velocity penalty for the suppressors. The suppressor was reduced from 15% to now you can see it is now only 8% of a penalty, and the agency suppressor was supposed to be changed from 30% to 15%, but it looks like that change has not gone through the game yet, so I have to wait and see when they actually push that through in the update. But this should allow a bit more flexibility for assault rifle creative classes. But now we're going to jump into the meat of this update. The FFAR was one of the biggest winners in this update, in my opinion. This is now your fast handling close quarters assault rifle king. What they've done is they've upped the damage from 27 damage per shot to 30 damage per shot within its 12.7 meter range. This reduces the FFAR from a 6-shot kill to a 5-shot kill within that short range fall off, and that is a 260, let me make sure I'm getting this right, 264 millisecond time to kill. That's faster than a majority of the SMGs in this game. See if I can find someone like this thing. I missed a shot there, but this thing absolutely just shreds. Now I was playing with this a little bit earlier in multiplayer, and I'm really digging the FFAR. They also increased its hipfire accuracy by 14%, and they buffed some of the attachments. The Treyarch also took some precautionary measures and reduced some of the damage bonuses on I think 3 of the barrels that you're seeing on the screen right now, just so this insane 264 millisecond time to kill isn't beaming people at insanely long ranges. I believe I have the barrel on right now. The takedown barrel gives you the biggest range at 22.86 meters. I think this is going to be the go-to barrel for any FFAR class. It's about time the FFAR got some love. It is now a worthy successor. Let me look at that right there. It's now a worthy successor to the FAMAS from Black Ops 1. Another big winner was the Groza. First thing they did with this was reduce the vertical recoil by 15%. I've been a frequent user of the Groza. The Groza and the FFAR are like my go-to assault rifles for the last couple seasons, and I can tell you this class setup has never been this accurate. This thing bounces a little bit, but that recoil pattern is very, very tight. They've also reduced the weapon movement when aiming down sight, and they moved the iron sights farther away from the player camera, which I believe this is a buff. I do have footage from before that I will throw on the screen right now for a comparison for you guys. You can see the iron sights weren't that big of an issue in my opinion before this update, but they definitely are a lot easier to use now. But that's not the only change. The Spetsnaz grip got a major buff on the Groza, increasing the horizontal recoil control from plus 17% up to plus 25%, and the vertical recoil control went from plus 7 to plus 15%, making this a must-use attachment on the Groza. They also increased the aim down sight time bonus on the Spetsnaz field grip from plus 15 to plus 30%, and they reduced the flinch resistance mitigation on the Spetsnaz field grip from a plus 80 to plus 70%. Lastly, for the KGB pad attachment, they increased the sprint to fire time bonus from plus 30 to plus 50% and reduced the hipfire accuracy penalty from minus 30 to minus 20%. So Groza got buffs all around. I think this has potential to be one of the top ARs in the game. I'll have to play around with it some more, but it has the fastest aim down sight time in class. It has good range. It really just loses out in time to kill to the AK-47, off the top of my head. All right, moving on. We have the C58, which got some pretty huge changes. I know a lot of people do not like this weapon and frown upon the C58. I say it's like a solid low mid tier assault rifle. Definitely not the worst in the game, but what they've done to the C58 is they buffed the range from 25.4 to 30.5 meters. Not that big of a deal. They also reduced the range penalty on the suppressor attachment. The big change with the C58 is they completely overhauled the recoil system and the whole visibility with the weapon. Before, it bounced a lot and made this weapon hard to use. Now there's no attachments on the C58. Look at this recoil pattern. This thing barely kicks. This is like Modern Warfare 2 ACR recoil right there. Look at that. That's no attachments at all and this is what this thing looks like. Now, there's more to talk about the C58, but just this change alone in my head, it makes this more appealing than the Krig 6. I'll throw in a clip of the Krig 6 recoil. The Krig 6 kicks way more than the new C58. Now, the Krig 6 was famous for being easy to use at long range because the recoil was easy to handle, but I don't know anymore. The C58 might be looking to take its place. I mean, it even kills faster than the Krig 6 at range. But here's the kicker. In my C58 review, I mentioned that the Task Force barrel had some perks to using it. It made it like one of the fastest killing weapons in the game. It just had some recoil issues that you had to deal with. I'll have on this gun right here now is the Task Force barrel and an optic, which is what I had in my recoil pattern test before. Someone is shooting me right now. Maybe you'll get a test. Where's this guy? Oh, he's right there. We'll just knock him down right here. Let me reload real quick so you can get a nice full spray here. That's a Task Force barrel recoil. That, compared to what it was before, I'll put the comparison on the screen right now, is absolutely nothing. So yeah, C58 got a pretty major buff. Definitely would suggest giving it another shot, although now the E82 is in the game, which I've played a couple games with it. It seems like it's just going to replace every single assault rifle in the game, especially long-range assault rifles. But yeah, give the C58 a try. This thing deserves a second chance. Moving on to the XM4, which saw several changes to its attachments. For one, the infantry compensator is now a more accurate recoil option than it was before, but most of its changes came to its magazines. For one, the jungle style mag had its reload increased from 20% up to 30%. What was the 40 round speed mag is now a 35 round speed mag, which is not a nerf. They did reduce the ammo capacity, but they completely removed the aim down sight penalty for this attachment. Now, the only real difference between the jungle style mag and the speed mag is the jungle style mag now has like a 0.1 second faster reload, but you're getting way more ammo with the 35 round speed mag. So I don't know why you would use the jungle style mag over the 35 round speed mag now. Our sixth attachment was a 50 round speed mag. It now has been reduced to 45 rounds, but that aim down sight speed penalty used to be minus 25%. Now it is only minus 12%, which I think is an overall buff to this. You also notice this fifth attachment is a completely new attachment. It's the B-Ops mini clamp, completely replacing the SAS mag clamp, which usually gives you the fastest reload in class. That still is true for this B-Ops mini clamp. The caveat with this is it reduces the mag to a 25 round mag, but you have a aim down sight time bonus with this attachment. So I played around with this in a couple regular multiplayer matches, and this attachment's pretty good. The reload speed is quick enough where you can be in and out of gunfights with 25 rounds only, and the aim down sight bonus with this lets you make some creative classes that could have the XM4 having the fastest aim down sight in the class now. So definitely, I'm not a big fan of the XM4, but some people like it, and this now is more viable than it was before. The final changes in this video aren't as complex. They're much easier to go for. The QBZ83 saw a 10% reduction in its vertical recoil, so this is easier to handle before. I still don't necessarily like, I mean, you can see the spray pattern here. It's pretty accurate, about the same actually as the C58, but this view bobble, the visual recoil on this is a lot of shaking. So yeah, it's more accurate, but I would like to see that visual recoil reduce some, make it as easy as some of the other weapons in this game, because QBZ isn't one of the fastest killing weapons in the game at this point with all the other assault rifles. The FFAR 83 saw two changes. The first being they pushed the iron sights away from our faces, which is supposed to make this easier to use, but I think this is a nerf. The FFAR was one of the only weapons like in this game that I felt comfortable using the iron sights on, and I like the iron sights before this change. They were closer to the face, but I feel like you had a wider field of view when looking down the scope. Now everything is just much tinier and harder to see and track targets when I'm in actual multiplayer with this. They also what did they do here? They reduced the initial recoil on this, but I don't know. I played around with this in a multiplayer earlier. I can't really see any changes other than the iron sights being different, and maybe it's just because I'm used to it and have muscle memory with the FFAR, But let me know what you guys think down below. If you used the FFAR iron sights before, you think this is a change for the better or for the worst. The KSP-45 is next up on the list, which saw a couple nerfs. The first one was a reduction to its range by like 3 meters. Not that big of a deal, but the big one here is they slowed down the burst delay, which makes the weapon feel a bit more inconsistent than it was before. Dual wield pistols got a nerf. You can see if we go to the stock right here, oh wait, no, I gotta go, wait, forgot you have to actually press the attachment to pull up the stats here, but you can see movement speed and strafe speed have each been reduced by 5%. So now this goes for any dual wield pistol, whether it be the M63, 1911, whichever pistols you decide to run around with, they will be a bit slower and a bit harder to use. You won't be able to be as agile with them as you were before. And our last change here is for the LC10, which I, as well as probably many other people, are frequent users of. 2 changes to this bad boy. The second range fall off, which is its longest range fall off, was reduced slightly. It went from a 50.8 meters to 45.72 meters, which honestly, what's 50 meters from here? You can't even, that's barely from here to here. So when you're using it at this range, it'll take an extra shot to kill, which honestly probably not going to feel that different. That's not that big of a deal. They also increased the recoil on the 1st and 12th bullets to make the recoil pattern a bit more random and harder to use. Both these changes I feel were to make the LC10 less effective at long range. You won't be really feeling these changes in ranges like this, but when you're fighting, like, you know, out to these ranges, it's still pretty accurate, but it's going to be a bit more unpredictable than it was before and just a little bit more challenging to use, which is fine, because I don't know why people complain about the LC10 being that good, because it doesn't even kill that fast, not even compared to like assault rifles. It's like a Peacekeeper from Black Ops 2. It's just solid at both ranges. It's not the best in class. And that's all, folks. That covers all the weapon balancing in the Season 5 launch update. Let me know what you guys think about the changes down below in the comments. I, for one, think this was one of the better weapon balancing we've seen in Black Ops Cold War so far. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, consider subscribing, and if you would like to help support the channel, there are some links down below in the description that you can check out. Peace.